Yep. I've got as much as you've got. Okay, right. Yes, so on that previous, what I was saying just before Jude came in, I'm thinking about it on, well, there's two ways to think about it. This is the self-improvement for this process, which is the pool's business, and then there's the DC improvement, which is where the architects come in. So I can change that to workers
Uh,
without altering what I'm intending to do, but
what
it
we
needs to go
should
somewhere.
really be what we should really be concerning ourselves with is how can we pull in all the work that we do on modifying the periphery, like everything in the website folder. How can that be put into the pull process? That's what I really want to see, right? Like,
Yeah. So what I would suggest there is, so this integration test is to do with the process that the pool requires to go from dust to final.
if you have tried to specify a process by which something bigger than this task at hand is achieved, then it doesn't belong in here, is my opinion.
I agree. So by changing architects to workers, what we're doing is we're stating that this is only concerned with the pool process. I think that also that begs a request for a kind of DC self-improvement problem. So how do we deal with
But
that?
okay, so how then? How can the DC self improvement be covered by something in this system, the
Well,
pool system?
that's straightforward because outputs can be anywhere, and outputs on this pool can point to DC without any problem with this process that we're considering now.
Okay,
So you just target the DC, say the dictionary, for example,
right. Okay,
and
so the self improvement of the dream catcher itself is just basically loops through the pooling process,
right,
um,
yeah,
just on targeting like request 01, which is the dream catcher.
right, yeah,
And
precisely, yeah,
okay,
precisely.
okay, and so are you sure there's no need for an architect's role?
Um,
Like,
as
have I understood? Do you think I've understood why you wanted the architect role, or
I
did I miss something?
no, I believe so. So just to reiterate, the self-improvement integration test 5, by changing it to workers, or we're constraining it to the process of just that pool. There is a wider self-improvement process that we want to make sure is right. We write a request and an idea for that and put this into this pool, and it targets the DC as a whole, and that's perfectly fine because you can target anything, but it goes through this process. So I think you've got it in that get rid of architects because that's the wrong level of thinking about it. But if I were to create a request about what the problem is that we're trying to solve around self-improvement for the DC as a whole and all the other pools that hopefully will come, that can go through this pool, absolutely. There's no reason, in fact, it has to go through this pool because we're only doing work through this pool and this is a
Okay,
loading
so
pool.
given that self improvement is a capability of this pool, does that not imply that any task within this pool is capable of self improvement or repeated improvement
Yes, at that level, yes, it does.
at that level? What is that level?
Well, for example, this pool would have no right for a worker. Well, let me be more precise. I11, a worker that's working on I11 would have no no business in putting in a process that improves your work on Interblock. So that's another
Why
layer
not?
out, because this I11 is interested in the request idea process for this pool. There could be other ones. There will be other ones, I'm sure.
Oh, right. So the process for I11.
Right, exactly,
That's the
exactly. So by changing architects to workers, we're keeping that self-improvement requirement that comes from R10, and we're constraining it to the scope of this process. But it was the reason I went down the architect thing, and that was probably sloppy thinking, is really that should be another request which is wider in scope, but nevertheless can go through this pool. Yeah, you see where I'm coming from?
It's still part of this. It's still part of the pull process, but it's just targeted at, because you can target anything.
Right. Right. Yep.
Okay. I feel shaky, but I think we are on the same page.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll get easier once we actually do it.
Well, if it doesn't, yeah, we're in trouble. Okay, let me put that down. So that's...
Well, but I still don't know how these tests... Well, first of all, the opening sentence. These integration tests are intended.
Oh, that's a typo. That's just like a lead-up context. That's probably from a previous version.
Not to be a dick. Did you proofread this before you submitted it to QA?
I did, but you got to remember. No. You got to remember.
There's a lot of effort.
I'm juggling a lot of fucking concepts here simultaneously.
Taking advantage of QA not charging any money
and self-referential concepts. So all right, yeah. I'll take you on that one.
You want some QA feedback? Read your fucking own document before you submit it. That's QA feedback for you.
Fuck off. Yeah. Okay, point taken. Yeah, there's a lot of balls in the air. Let's put it that way. Try and get this through. The next one is got to be easier because it's not actually talking about its own process.
Yeah. How do I know that the test passed? Again, sorry. I know you answered that, but
So the integration test 1.7 is state change. If that state change happens because of the preceding 6 steps, then request submission is passed.
Okay, there's an easier format for you to follow then, which is arrange, assert, act. So these ones, basically you've got, for integration test 1, there's no arrangement. You can start that from a blank pool. Act is steps 1 through to 6. And then assert is step 7. Like you're basically saying, start like this, do all these things, and then now the state should be this.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I know this, and that's a good reminder. It's arrange, act, assert, isn't it? As opposed to arrange, assert, act.
Yeah.
That's
I should say it backwards. Whatever. It's been a long day.
No, that's a good pointer. I've used that in the past, and it's actually really nice. So it's the starting conditions, the change on conditions, and then an assertion which is either true or false. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be true or false.
Mm-hmm.
Can be a collection. You can just describe an overall state. Given that you're using English, a description will be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine.
Yeah.
But I think that's really the structure that you're trying to apply here.
Yeah.
Is you've got a title for your integration test, and then you've got the arrange, act, assert thing.
Yeah, good. Okay. Right. That's really helpful. In which case, I already see that 2 and 3 are not in that format. 4 could be put into that format. 5 we've just talked about and does not have that format. So I need to rewrite the integration tests. Just take that. Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
mm-hmm.
How would you rate your current will to get this thing across the line
Oh, fucking 12.
by revisiting it again.
But it's probably, I don't know,
I don't.
given my, perseverance and, I don't know, exacerbation. Yeah, it's probably going to be 13 or 17.
Right. Are you getting annoyed that I'm being? Do you think I'm being? Do you think I'm being a bad QA?
No, I'm. How do I sum this up? I'm getting the same annoyed as when, or I was, under a PTI who was insisting that I ran uphill a steep hill with a log with 3 other guys, and at the top carry it on your shoulder all the way back. It's like it's not pleasant, but it's doing good. So it's this is like a workout.
I just, it's easier to be QA than it is to be worker. Like, work is hard.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
It's easier to sit in the code.
This is I'm actually quite pumped with where we're going. Also, the cadence that we're achieving. I'm really pumped to get this over the line, and so harsh QA is good in the same way as burpees and squats are good.
Okay, so once we get these ones across the line, then we should start working really hard to get other requests across the line too.
Yes. Yeah.
And probably, like I said, the first one that I think would be good from you is the Mayday app or the journal, probably the journal app actually, if you can.
Well, the journal app,
manage that one.
Yeah, the journal app, I'm really quite wedded to, in my heart.
Yeah, because we can actually, once you do that, we can use that with the journals to actually work with them on it.
Right.
And that's important to me, because I'm like, we can't really move much without that request or without the idea that goes with it or something, because what do we present, right? But
exactly. And what I was saying, I don't know, was it four calls ago, really with the request and the idea, what you've got, oh shit, there's someone at the door. What you've got is the presentation. That's the pitch. The pitch just falls out the bottom of this. Real easy. So yeah, of those two, of Mayday and Journal, I like. I'm actually very well wedded to Mayday because of where I come from, but Journal seems to be the one that we could actually do some good with quickest.
Yeah. It's sort of close to Mayday. Yeah. And Mayday's in the neighborhood, but yeah. And then if we can get these other items past QA. It's like, I know I haven't passed QA on web liquidity pooling and the IPFS rewrite, but it makes me feel good to have them there, because I'm like, that is what I'm aiming for, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I want to get to. Yeah. And, I can point at it and
well, my feeling,
read it and all that.
Yeah, well, my feeling when going through this is a feeling of traction. And okay, so there might be momentum to get this thing going, which is what we're doing at the moment. But I can easily see going through the journal idea through this process in a relatively short period of time and get something really tight and well defined and something that can be explained and doesn't have hanging. Oh, didn't think of that. That's the value of the QA process. So, in answer to your question a couple of minutes ago, what would be ideal is you be as RC as possible on the QA on this one, of all things. Because I could try to be RC, but I'm getting a bit word blind on some of this. So I can't be totally RC on myself, otherwise I would just do it. But you can be, one step aside RC on it. But feel free to be a complete cunt. So I shouldn't say that on YouTube, sure.
I expect this trend to be not for kids. So I think the only thing you're not allowed to do these days is be a white supremacist. But I think that's all.
Yeah. Well, that's a low bar to get over, isn't it?
Not for some.
We've got many flaws, but that's not one of them. Okay, right. So, yes to that format, arrange, act, assert. I'll go through integration tests and rewrite today on that basis. Are we done on integration? We've talked about implementation steps. I've got the notes for there. So what I've got, unless there's anything else you want to bring up, I think that's good feedback on I11. That's definitely enough to get my teeth into today and present another one for tomorrow. Unless there's anything else that you can see that you want to bring up at this point.
Oh yes, I wanted to check with you. I've started dumping dust in the NFAs. Like if you look at R12.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
So what I've been doing is like, I've been having some really good discussions that I liked. I thought they were good concepts in Discord. And, I've been poking back and forth with those diagrams and stuff. And so I just dumped the whole Discord chat here, and that's dust to me. And I'm just grabbing an ID, really, is what I wanted.
Yeah.
Now, is that okay by you? Because I am exercising some discretion, because I'm not like just putting a bunch of one-liners in there that clog up the works. I'm putting things that I believe will become more permanent. But it is sloppy.
It's better than okay. It's actually the whole essence of the thing, isn't it? That's how to catch a dream. Is you don't overwork it. You just like, here's a concept, here's a problem. No, that's absolutely
okay.
And obviously, I'm looking at R12 now, atomic economics. I read through it, and then I got to this big block of text, which is the cut and paste, and I went, my eyes are going a bit wobbly on that.
Yeah, right.
But it's dust. So what can you say? Yeah, you're not applying it to any QA yet. But yeah, no, that's absolutely, and that's the same. It's better than okay. It's actually the whole essence of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep going with that atomic economics thing, because I believe it holds the simplest explanation of what it is that we do, and why seemingly trying to be everything all at once is actually more efficient here, because we needed a more complex component, one that was innately aware of the economic marketplace that bore it, and that it will continue to exist in.
Yeah.
And I think it, like, you explain to people what the Dreamcatcher does, and it's pretty, it can sound like, man, you guys are trying to do too much, but actually we're trying to do one thing, which is this whole economic life cycle as one thing.
Yeah.
And atomic economics does describe that. If we could get that concept right, describes it better than anything I've seen us come up with before, because it's like as simple as it can get.
Yeah.
But
you're absolutely on the button. This is not a blockchain. This is not even Dreamcatcher. This is an economics concept, which sits as a kind of third way between socialism and capitalism.
Yeah, it's like a blend of programming, energy, and symbolic accounting, or like, symbolic models of the world, which is what computing is supposed to do.
Yeah. Is there? All right. Do you want any input on any of these, or is this too dusty and you want to just clear it up at some point?
I'd love to clear it up a bit because I'm like, we could end up burning time debating something that I'm not even that. I don't know
Yeah.
whether it is one thing or is another. You're welcome to add something in there anytime you want, and you're welcome to start your own one too, and we can try and merge them later. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of these concepts are fuzzy, they're kind of delicate and they're hard to grasp, and seeing them from different angles is good, because I think one that you saw was those Git diagrams where you wanted to describe the mechanism of the dream catcher using those Git diagrams.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that, but
That's been going around as a Scottish term. It's been going around my brain like a hairy worm. That one. It's like if we could figure out how to model in a diagram the incentives around an execution process, then we could describe the Dreamcatcher and what we're trying to do, and possibly a lot of what you got in atomic economics here, in a way that should seem obvious. But I've no idea where. I've only spent, and I've not logged them because we don't have an output or an asset to log them against. But spent about an hour trying to learn how physicists at CERN model fields, because these are essentially forces and feedback forces as well.
You should log it against R12. Then if your idea is not well formed enough to start your own request or your own idea and get your own ID, then you should log it against whatever you can.
Yeah, cool. I'll do that. But it was a very tantalizing idea that you put at the last call around those diagrams, and
it's fuzzy, but it's pretty intriguing there. That one.
There's something there. It's like it's like having a trout around your feet. It's like moving around. You don't really know. We'd quite like trout for dinner.
Oh, hey, under app data market, I copied that stuff from some of your work. I think it's been overtaken by the stuff we've done in the pool folder.
App Dasher Market MD.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have a look at that. Yes, I remember this.
I just copied it, but it might just be superfluous now.
Yeah. I'll look at that. That might be a deletion, or well, I guess what we should be doing, because this is your inventor's notebook idea, to go back 5 years, whatever it is. We should be just throwing stuff into dust and not mind how many of them are.
Well, yeah. Well, we can always delete some if we're like, oh, that's garbage, or that'll never work, or whatever.
Yeah. But the point is, you write it down, and you do that habitually. And at some point, you merge ideas, which is the real, one of the real kind of superpowers of Dreamcatcher, isn't it? Is merge. But the first step is just to throw it out there. Yeah. Okay. Right. Leave it with me. I'll either delete it or I'll turn it into a mote of dust. And
well, the only other thing from my side is the state of the blockchain. It's going really fucking well. I'm doing